Hi. When I saw the email come across my phone, I will admit my heart dropped. I thought you guys already made your decision based off that one-time impression of me, and I wanted to make sure that you guys had the full sense of who I am. So when I opened it and realized that you're allowing us to have an opportunity to debrief, tell you how we felt and why we felt this way, I was relieved. I'm glad that you have this opportunity to view me once again, not in such a high-level situation, to understand my actions in the interview. First, I just want to say again, thank you for taking time. Thank you to all participants, the alumni that participated in that interview. Thank you for making it challenging, open my eyes to things. I will admit I'm researching things now that I thought I wouldn't look into, because the insight you gave me in that interview was very interesting. The first question, how did I feel? Off the bat, as soon as I hung up, I was a little discouraged, to be honest with you. Not to say that I'm discouraged with this program. I'm going to go pedal to the metal and give it my all. But the intensity of the interview was unexpected. Not to say that it's unwelcome. I rose to the challenge. It was unexpected and new for me. The questions at first seemed easy questions. Chick-fil-A or Popeyes? Which sandwich would you prefer? First thought, I was like, oh, okay, they're trying to get to know us. But then I got into that mindset. This is an assessment of how you are going to act in debate situations for this program. So I quickly changed my mindset. And I believe that my response was that I heard others say that Popeyes was better. And the alumni, people who've been in this program, quickly rebutted and said, oh, why? Support that with evidence. So it really got me thinking in this mindset of debater, okay, I can't just speak off of emotion. I have to come and say exactly what I'm thinking. So I enjoyed that they had challenged me to that extent. What stood out to me is honestly the intensity and how quick we got started. From the first question, you didn't hide what you guys were thinking. You came, presented us with very argumentative questions, and allowed us to go at it for a while. That's what stood out to me. The briefness, you made sure that you didn't circle around the bush or beat around the bush per se when we gave an answer to a question. You came right at us. That stood out to me. Now, what I did well, I will say that I did not waver in my argument. Meaning that I noticed sometimes when we are in, tight situations where we're panicking, we start to waver from our argument. We're like, oh, well, that's not what I meant. Let me change my side. I think the bad thing I did was not reinforcing my argument enough. But back to what I did well, I really believe that I stuck to my guns. I had my initial argument, and when I was countered, I believe that I did pretty well. Of course, with your teaching that I hope to gain, when you accept me from this, I'll be much better on my feet. But I think I come in with enough experience that I did well in this interview. I managed to not speak too much, because at times when you speak too much or you're trying to be heard too often, it comes off as that you're not thinking. That you're not thinking through your responses. So I made sure I tried to think through everything I was saying and tried to make my argument bulletproof. Of course, I'm not as experienced as my counterpart. So my argument did waver sometimes. They're like, oh, what do you think about that? And they come back with things I would not have thought about at the time. So that definitely threw me for a loop. But I think I did pretty well. My arguments made sense. They weren't too controversial. And I like how when I made a decision, it wasn't based off what someone else said. I piggybacked off of someone, but I also managed to direct them to my statement. I didn't waver too far from the question. When I talked, I came right in, got right to the question, and only changed what I was saying when I was redirected. I believe that I spoke clearly. I kept a professional manner. I didn't get too argumentative to the fact where it crosses over from debate to being disrespectful. I believe I tried to keep that fine line. I believe I did pretty well. Excuse me for looking over here. I have the email up. I just want to make sure I responded to all your questions. What would I do better next time? Again, just knowing how the process is going to be would have helped immensely, but I see why you guys didn't allow me to know that, because you got my true response. Now, next time, I would probably first get my mindset that this would be complete argument debate for most of the interview. I think I was kind of thrown for a loop, and it took me a minute to adjust. Next time, I think I will speak more, but I found it kind of difficult on the Zoom call to, get heard or speak over people. I think next time I'll be way more assertive with my arguments, but not to cross the line as disrespectful. I would definitely speak more, but I wouldn't do too many things differently as I did today. I believe that when I said my argument, I said it well, how I meant it. And when one of the alumni or people in the program came and asked me to clarify or took me in a different direction, I went pretty willingly. I thought about what they said. I even allowed for a period of silence. I noticed in my counterparts, we often, go back and forth and not thinking, but sometimes I needed to back up and say, whoa, when I made this statement, I didn't line up my words exactly how I meant them. And that made me stand back and say, when I make my thesis statement to my whole argument that I'm about to pursue and tell you, I need to have it almost bulletproof. I need to know what I'm saying, why I'm saying. I need to have examples. I need to have examples to back me. I had a couple of general ideas that I put together in a in a good thesis, I would say. It was very constructive, the questions I got, but I will say that I need to have specific examples ready. And of course, if led into this program, I of course tune in on that weakness at times. But I think given a little more time to answer the questions, I would have definitely done a little bit better. What resonated with me? Just the readiness of the people conducting the interview. Their ability to quickly have a rebuttal or a question against you, it really resonated with me. Like, wow, I need to be ready at all times, always be attentive. And I like how they kept saying, choose someone to counter off of. So I would start my argument, or someone else would start their argument, and they would say, say their name and what they said before you introduce your argument to show why yours is so much better. So that really resonated with me and reminded me why I love debate is saying, your answer is wrong, and I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to back you with evidence, and I'm going to convince everyone that I'm right. So that resonated with me. I took that away from the meeting, and always taking your opportunity. So I found that during the middle of the interview, I kind of stepped back. I readjusted. I realized, okay, they're asking some questions where you think that's a real simple plain cut answer, but you got to get into the detail, and you got to be ready for them to come back with you and be like, okay, but I don't like what you said, let me tell you why, and I need you to give me evidence. So that resonated with me to have me step back and really elevate my game. I learned about myself that I can work well under pressure. There were times where, yes, the back and forth nature of the interview kind of discouraged me, but I rose to every challenge presented. I believe that when I answered questions, it wasn't to be heard over someone else. It was to have my argument considered at the table. And I believe that every time I spoke, I gave my absolute best answer. And at times I was backed into a corner or told to rephrase my argument. I didn't shut down. I met that challenge completely. And that's what I'm proud and what I learned about myself. I learned that even with, these challenges with COVID-19, being online, not being able to get that personal feel of in person, feel their personality, their rhythm, I think I did exceptional. I believe in myself. I really think that with the challenges thrown at us from day one, I did pretty well. I made sure that when I spoke, it made sense. Nothing was too crazy. And I believe that every statement I said could be backed with more time. It can be backed with so much more evidence. What did I learn about the program? I already knew this, but I learned that y'all don't play. Excuse my slang, but I learned that you guys, you come in and you get your stuff done. I knew that from the beginning, and I got that sense of that in the application kickoff, but I would have never thought it was on this level. You expect everyone to achieve greatness, and you will push them there. You don't even have to be in the program. Just this interview showed me, okay, I'm not going to baby you. We're going to hit the ground running. And we're going to challenge you from day one so you know this is what we do. I will admit, just some difficulties on the Zoom call, being heard. I had to make sure I wasn't being impolite. I would like to clear that up, that at times I don't want to talk over my counterparts. But other than that, I learned that you guys take into account how we research the program. When you interview us, you make sure that we know why we're here. You have to show an active effort to be here. This isn't just something where you're going to come and say, oh, I have all A's, accept me. You make sure that, hey, you need to be presenting an effort, and you need to show that you want us, and make yourself presentable. So that really came to me, wow. That is the first takeaway I had. But other than that, additional points, it was interesting. You know, at the application kickoff, of course, I got the great feel from there. I was immediately intrigued with the program. But you kept telling us that it's an interesting interview process. Don't assume anything. And of course, I took that to heart because I listened to criticism and I listened to advice, more importantly. So all the advice you gave me was, I took it to heart. But you just don't know till you're in that situation. So that's one takeaway I had. Wow. Like, you guys are just about it. You get your stuff done. And I just want to reinforce my statement that I really want to be a part of this program. I know I have what it takes. If it wasn't clear in the interview, I like to make it clear now that I have what it takes. I can be molded and shaped, and it won't take too much molding. It'll just take the psychology and education you guys give to get me to the highest level that I can be. But trust me, it would not take much to get me to the same level as those that are on the program now. I know that I can operate at the same level with them, and I know that I could go with you guys to these huge championships and carry my weight. I believe that, and I hope that you see that with this video and in the interview, that even though it's tough to be heard, that it came across. Because I tried to take advantage of every opportunity for a question. Going back to the actual interview, the question was asked about, say a good thing about Trump. And it was followed by, say a bad thing by President Barack Obama. And that, I will admit, took me for a loop. But it made me realize that, hey, in debate, like what I did in South Lyon, you're not always going to be given your perfect scenario. You're not always going to say what you believe in. You're not always going to be able to say what's least controversial. You have to get the prompt and argue for whatever side they say. And that's how you're a great debater. So the fact that I was able to take that prompt that was very hard for me and formulate an argument that I thought was pretty well constructed, and there weren't too many loopholes in it to really criticize me too much, I thought that was a great feat. So without being too long-winded, I just want to tell you guys that I'm ready. I can do this. I hope you saw more of my personality. I wanted to come into this video being pretty professional, but I also wanted you to see me. So remember, I'm Julianna Thomas. I'm 15 years old, MLK. I play softball. I love humor. I love to dance. At the application kickoff, when you guys danced, I loved it. So I just want you guys to remember that I have this booming personality that will show through my debate. And when I speak, it won't be because I want you to be heard over everybody else's. I will formulate a good thesis and back it up. So I just want you guys to know that. I'd be happy to be a part of your program. I hope you keep me in the loop with considering me and ultimately see this video and see how serious I am and my personality and my initiative and my ability to strive for more, that I can be right along with my other peers in this program. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope that I met your criteria. And whether or not I make it to this program, I will do exactly what you said at the application kickoff, and that's making a difference on the world and making an impact. So thank you for watching this video.